Welcome to WorldXplain. Imagine, for just a second, diving headfirst into this dark, chaotic ocean of digital noise. I mean, millions of voices, all echoing out into the void every single second of the day. And what are they sharing? Some of the most intimate, terrifying, and urgent details of their entire lives. We're talking about their health. Today, we're digging into a completely unprecedented phenomenon. You see, social media platforms, and Twitter in particular, have quietly morphed into these massive, totally unregulated global hospitals of information. But right in the middle of this endless feed of scrolling text and glowing screens, a really critical, literally life-altering question starts to emerge from the dark.
So here's the terrifying dilemma we're facing in the modern digital age. When your health is on the line, who do you actually trust? Because absolutely anyone can post medical information online now. We're talking everyone from renowned, board-certified surgeons down to, well, just a random stranger with absolutely no medical background whatsoever. And that creates an absolute nightmare for patients. Think about it. When a patient is desperate, when they're scared and frantically searching for answers, they're thrown into a feed where verified medical facts and completely subjective, unverified opinions look exactly the same. How in the world are you supposed to distinguish a life-saving clinical truth from a really dangerous, misguided opinion, especially when both of them might have thousands of retweets?
Well, a brilliant team of researchers saw this exact danger, and they decided to do something about it. They launched this massive digital investigation, and their mission was absolutely critical. They needed to figure out if social media could actually step up and provide safe, reliable healthcare support, or if the sheer volume of misinformation out there had just turned it into a toxic landscape for vulnerable patients. To do this, they really had to understand exactly who was doing the talking, what they were actually saying, and how all this information was secretly flowing through the network.
Section 1. Analyzing the massive data. The digital investigation.
To actually answer these big, profound questions, the researchers essentially had to run a full-scale digital forensic operation. Social media doesn't just put out a few articles here and there, it pumps out these vast, overwhelming oceans of data every single day. It's literally an avalanche of human thought. So to capture and actually make sense of this massive daily influx of healthcare tweets, well, having humans read them was completely off the table. It's impossible. They needed some serious enterprise-level technological firepower.
So, they put together an investigative toolkit. First up, they tapped into the Twitter API to systematically pull these massive data sets right from the source. But then, where do you even put all that data? That's where they brought in Apache Hadoop and Apache Hive. These are incredibly powerful server-level frameworks specifically built to manage and organize big data. Once they had that mountain of data safely contained, they fired up R programming. They used R to do some deep text mining and predictive modeling. Basically, they were acting as digital detectives, hunting for hidden themes to figure out the true quality of the medical conversations happening online.
But what's truly fascinating here is their use of a social network analysis tool called Gephi. The researchers didn't just want to read the text, they wanted to actually see the invisible architecture of human connection. By mapping out this glowing, interconnected web of users, Gephi let them visually track exactly how information spreads from just one person out to thousands. It peeled back the layers to reveal the hidden hierarchy of the platform, showing us precisely who genuinely controls the flow of information online.
Section 2. Two sides of Twitter, the two worlds contrast.
As all those cold, hard analytics finished processing, a really fascinating discovery popped up. It turned out there wasn't just one giant monolithic conversation happening out there. No, there were two completely parallel universes. The researchers found this stark, dramatic divide between two very specific groups, the influential users and the non-influential users. On one side, you've got the highly visible influencers. These are the users with massive followings, who basically act as giant megaphones, controlling public opinion and totally dominating the feed. But then, on the exact opposite side, you have the ordinary, non-influential users. These are everyday people with much smaller audiences, and together they make up this vast, quiet sea of really intimate conversations. And this brilliantly illustrates a fascinating psychological dynamic. The influential users, probably feeling the heavy weight of speaking to those massive audiences, tend to stick strictly to objective, factual information. They protect their credibility by talking about concrete diagnoses, verified medications, and formal therapies. But the ordinary, non-influential users, they do something completely different. They're sharing highly subjective, deeply emotional content. They're out there offering their raw, unfiltered personal experiences, their intimate coping strategies, and just giving some really deep emotional encouragement to one another.
And the text mining analysis actually proved this conclusively.
It showed that objective information, the cold, hard medical facts based on evidence, research, and measurable data, is heavily dominated by the people with the largest followings. They really are the clinical broadcasters of the digital world. But the non-influential users score remarkably low when it comes to sharing objective medical facts. Instead, they completely dominate the subjective, experiential side of the data.
Section 3. The power of emotion, beyond the medical facts.
This brings us to a profound turning point in the explainer. We really have to step away from the sterile, measurable world of clinical data for a second and look at the unmeasurable, deeply human element here. Just imagine receiving a terrifying medical diagnosis in the middle of the night. You aren't just looking for a list of symptoms, you are desperately seeking human connection. And the study highlighted exactly that. It showed that this subjective information provides immense emotional comfort and social connection. Even though these ordinary users don't have formal medical degrees, sharing their coping strategies radically reduces those crippling feelings of isolation that patients face. It drastically improves their overall emotional well-being.
So the researchers came to this stunning realization. The value of the non-expert is absolutely immense. Just sharing personal recovery stories, venting about emotional struggles, or even offering simple lifestyle advice on how to get through a tough day, this is literally just people helping people. And this subjective emotional support network, it turns out it's just as vital to a patient's overall healing journey as the objective medicine prescribed by their doctors.
Section 4. Strengths and dangerous flaws. The risk of the network.
However, this interconnected community is shadowed by a pretty terrifying reality. So the crucial point is that while the study's big data methodology was incredibly accurate, it drew from real-world massive data sets, it also exposed the ultimate weakness of the platform. The open, completely unregulated nature of social media allows dangerous misinformation to spread like wildfire. And sadly, some users intentionally spread misleading information. Because emotional data is totally unmeasurable, a deeply heartfelt story that promotes a completely fake cure can easily go viral and deceive thousands of vulnerable people.
And this laid bare the researchers' ultimate nightmare. Incorrect, unverified healthcare advice, often masked as confidence or deep empathy, could severely negatively influence life-altering health decisions. Think about it. A frightened patient might actually choose to abandon a scientifically proven disease management therapy, all because they read a highly shared but entirely subjective opinion online. The stakes of this digital communication are literally life and death.
Section 5. The future of support, bridging the divide.
So where does this unprecedented investigation actually leave us? How do we navigate a platform that is simultaneously a miraculous support group and a dangerous minefield? Well, the answer lies in bridging the divide. When we zoom out and piece the whole ecosystem together, we see this really powerful dual benefit. When it's used carefully and responsibly, social media can actually provide the complete package for patient care. We absolutely need the influential experts to broadcast those hard, objective medical facts so we can make safe, informed decisions. But at the exact same time, we equally need the ordinary, non-influential users to provide that deep, subjective empathy and comfort that clinical medicine just cannot offer on its own. Both halves are absolutely required for true healing.
As we continue to develop these unimaginable technologies to track, mine, and analyze our online lives, we're really left to ponder this one final question. If big data can map our diseases, can it also measure our deep, fundamental need for human connection? Thank you for watching WorldXplain. See you in the next video.